That's what I'm looking at. So, all right. So, welcome everybody to the November 9th meeting of Minnesota MUFON. Good to see you all. I'm Jerry Nelson. I'm the Assistant State Director. Tom is not here today. He'll be gone for about the next month. He's out enjoying himself someplace in this world. He's not telling us where. So maybe he's on a UFO out flying around someplace. Who knows? Anyhow, today's sponsor, Michelle Gates. Thank you very much for that. She's sponsoring our meeting today. If you want to sponsor our monthly Zoom meeting, it's $13.49, or if you want to do the joke of the month, it's $10, or if you want to just donate to MUFON Minnesota, please contact Jan Swenson at jan.swenson.pioneer@gmail.com. We still appreciate all your donations that you continue to bring to us so that we can give some great programming. We ask MUFON members, if possible, donate $5. Non-MUFON members, $7. You can get a hold of Jan or PayPal or Zelle or credit cards, personal checks, however, but you can contact jan.swenson.pioneer@gmail.com, and we really appreciate it. And like I said, that helps us maintain some good presenters and all the other things that we do. So the Minnesota MUFON State Director, Tom Maher, right there with Mr. E.T. He can be heard on 95 KQDS radio in Duluth, usually on the third Thursday of every month at about 8:40 in the morning. That's kind of hit or miss. It just kind of depends upon when he's able to do it and when the DJs have it all set up for him. But you can go on northlandmufon.com and you can listen to his old recordings. And there's several of them on there. You have to check it out. And of course, Field Investigators, it's always a good day to log into MUFON University. And on MUFON University, you can check your chat. Let me try this again. You can check your dashboard. You can read all about MUFON University. You can take Astronomy 101, explore field investigator training, take professional development classes, such as MUFON Leadership Style Assessment, Presentation Design 101, Public Speaking 101, Space Exploration 101, and Technology, Computers and Software Applications. There is quite a bit on there. Check out, and it's good to go through that from time to time. And actually, from what I understand, I think they're going to start doing some continuing education for the field investigators, which is a good thing. Kind of keep us up to date on everything. So if you are not a field investigator, it'd be really nice if you thought about it. It's a lot of fun. There's several reasons why. You could be part of the answer. You can be part of those of us that help find the answers. You can help witnesses try to understand what they saw. You get to investigate cool cases. You can work with other investigators because, we can't do these things alone. Whenever we're on site or going to talk to somebody in person, we should always have another field investigator with us. You can learn more about the local area. And when I say local area, I'm talking about Minnesota, the whole big thing, because we go all over the place. And of course, camaraderie and just being a part of the big picture. So if you want to become an investigator, if you're thinking about it and on the fence, not quite sure, just let us know and we'll do our best to talk you into it. So Minnesota MUFON educates the public, which is one of the MUFON's deals. But do you know of a group that would enjoy a presentation from us? And if you do, please let us know. It could be a church group, book clubs, line clubs, benefactor clubs, Rotary clubs, science clubs, social clubs, Knights of Columbus, schools. If a teacher or something, we could come in and just do an hour-long presentation to the kids or whatever. Boys and Girl Scouts, there are several merit badges for the Boy Scouts, which I think is just now called Scouting. The Aviation Merit Badge, Space Exploration Merit Badge, or even the Weather Merit Badge could be all part of what we could help with the Boy Scouts or the Scoutings in general. And of course, anybody else that would like a presentation, we are there for them. Well, how do you become a member of Minnesota MUFON? That's a good question. All you got to do is join MUFON.com. It's that simple. Once you join MUFON.com, you got a Minnesota address, you are a member of Minnesota MUFON. But did you know that there are two chapters in Minnesota? There's the Minnesota MUFON, which is pretty much the southern part of the state. However, they do assign cases over the entire state. They are the Minnesota MUFON, which is what we're doing today, is a chapter that assigns cases all over the state. Normally, we meet in the Twin Cities at New Brighton Community Center, but obviously we're just doing online today, and that's all right. But if we can find some tech people to help us out, we will start meeting in person, and I think everybody would enjoy that more. Northland MUFON, just to go over that real quick, they cover the northern half of Minnesota and all of North Dakota. They meet in Fargo, Grand Rapids, and online all at the same time. Next meeting for them is November 23rd. You can go to northlandmufon.com and I'll explain all of that. And if you got questions, just ask at Northland MUFON, and we'll try to get answers to you. So here's some basic levels of membership for MUFON. You have your basic level, which is $60 a year. And additionally, you can add another $30. You get the hard copy of the MUFON Journal, which is mailed directly to you, which is what I do. I enjoy them all the time. I've got a whole bunch of them. Here's one of them right here. Of course, you can't really see it, but there you go. And this month, we'll show it to you in a little bit here. It's a pretty good one. You can have the enhanced, which just gives you some more extra stuff at $120 a month. And you get this ebook of UFO Crash Retrieval of the Third Kind by Michael Schratt, who's going to be presenting at the Northland one in December 21st. So that'll be a fun one. And you have access to other things too. MUFON TV, which is really great because you get to see the older presentations for the symposiums and stuff like that. So anyhow, the enhanced is pretty good. In fact, most of the subscriptions that they've been getting lately have been the enhanced, which I might do next year because the MUFON TV is pretty good. You got the VIP, which has all this other stuff, all this extra stuff is $300 a year. And then you have the research for $400 a year, which just adds on to the other one there. Now, the part here that can be confusing is just because it says researcher doesn't mean this is what you have to do to be a field investigator. That this researcher and field investigator is two completely different things. To be a field investigator, you just need to be a member of MUFON and $60 a year, and you're in. So no problem with that. Of course, other things do, but that's about it. So explore the various MUFON membership opportunities. Become a MUFON member. Go to MUFON.com. You'll see all the stuff that I just showed you, but you'll be able to go through it at your own pace and figure out what you want to do. Right here, this is the MUFON Journal for November. And believe it or not, one of Bill McNuff's cases is in this one. It was one that he investigated back in 2018. I actually had the pleasure of meeting the witness at the Reamer Bigfoot Days back in June. It was July. We sat and talked for a little while. He gave me his story, and we submitted to the journal and then sent the journal. So Minnesota MUFON's got a case in there. So if you get an opportunity, check that one out, November 2024. It's already up on the MUFON.com website. November Skywatch, November 1st, we got the new moon. On the 5th was the Taurid meteor shower. Best viewing after midnight from dark location, obviously. November 10th is the close approach of the moon and Saturn. On the 15th is a full moon or supermoon at 21:30 Universal Time, which is 3:30 our time, known in early Native American tradition as the Beaver Moon, near its closest approach to Earth, so it's brighter than usual. Whoops, sorry about that. November 17th, Uranus is at opposition, which just means that we are directly between Uranus, the Sun, and directly between Uranus and the Sun. That's what opposition means. The 17th and 18th is the Leonid meteor shower. Best viewing after midnight. It'll be about 15 to 20 of them per hour. It's cyclonic, which means it's reached its maximum peak every 33 years. The last peak was in 2001, so 2034 ought to be a good one. But 10 years close to it should be pretty good. For updates on space launches, go to spaceflightnow.com. And for monthly sky maps, just check out skymaps.com. Now, the membership, I wasn't able to get membership for this month. I don't know exactly when it gets mailed out. It gets mailed out to the state director, which I am not, which is Tom. But Tom is out of country right now, so I wasn't able to get that. But it appears to be going back up, but let's keep it going. Ivar, I know you got some awesome ideas, so let's get that membership up. It only helps everybody. And MUFON is excited to announce the Project Aquarius Digital Library is now live for everybody. It's the world's largest online research library, providing MUFON members with multiple forms of historical printed materials like magazine articles and newspaper clippings, databases, photos, videos, and interactive maps, donated private collections, including Craig Lang, who is a Minnesota member, and any other type of media regarding UFO UAP phenomena. MUFON spent decades bringing this online database with never before publicly available content anywhere, as well as historical and modern searchable content. So without the cooperation of other worldwide UFO groups, private citizens, and many, many volunteers, this project would never been able to come to realization. And MUFON thanks every single one of you. So the Mars repository is an archive of all of the older reports from 67 to 95. And hopefully they can, or they are working on updating that and bringing more there. But right now there is, like I said, over 6,000 pages. There's a lot of stuff there. You also get the Witness Sketch Gallery, which has over 7,000 illustrations from our 139,000 plus report database. This one here, the newspaper clippings gallery, is free for everybody. You don't need to have a subscription to anything to check this one out. These are just old newspaper clippings, so obviously they're going to be free for anybody that wants to see them. You can repost them anywhere, whatever you want to do with them. Past MUFON journals from 1967 to 2010. And you can see these are black and white. The one I showed you was color. It's pretty cool. They are working on getting more of these as well. Collections from private researchers. There's our own Mr. Craig Lane. You also have collections from Bob Pratt, Colonel Edward Ruppelt, and Leonard Stringfeld. And hopefully Craig's will be added soon. We're still waiting on Mr. McDonald to get a hold of Tom and figure out how Tom's going to get all the stuff to Cincinnati. So hopefully that will happen sometime in the near future. We shall see. And then historic symposium proceedings. We got them from 1971 to 2002, and they'll be adding more in the future. And these things are huge. The one from this last July was almost 200 pages long. It's amazing. It's got a lot of information in it. Also, the UFO report maps. This is it. I believe this is interactive. You should be able to zoom in and see where sightings are all over the states here. And of course, Project Aquarius library card. If you just want to get that, it's $50 a year, and you can get into all of those different rooms for the Project Aquarius stuff. So, are you a Minnesota MUFON member? Are you interested in participating in Minnesota MUFON in a bigger way? Are you interested in working closer with Minnesota MUFON leadership, or do you have some tech experience, or would you like some? And are you a people person? And we need people with tech experience to help us run in-person meetings. I can't say that enough, because as soon as we get some people that are willing to help out with that, we'll be able to be in person again. So please, if you have anything, and we'll provide training for that too, if you just want to help, that would be awesome. Minnesota MUFON is looking for a few volunteers to support us with various tasks, and you can help make this MUFON an even better chapter than we already are, because we are an awesome chapter, and it's up to you guys to help us make it even better. So if you're interested, just speak to Mr. Tom. You can email him at mufontom@epcoachtom.com, and he will tell you everything you need to know. The Minnesota MUFON Symposium Fund. So MUFON requires chapter representation at the annual symposium every year. So Minnesota MUFON Board elected to establish a fund to help send that representative. Normally it's the state director. So if you would like to help Tom get to the symposium next year, you can donate. Just contact Jan Swenson at jan.swenson.pioneer@gmail.com, and we very much appreciate that. Minnesota MUFON would like to thank all of those people who have donated in the past months. Absolutely. Thank you very much for everybody that's been donating. Not say your name, but we very much appreciate everything you guys are doing to help out the chapter. It's very much appreciated. We are on social media. We're on Facebook. We have our own YouTube channel, Instagram, and Meetup, which on Meetup we're called the Twin Cities UFO Research and Investigations Meetup. I don't know anything about Meetup, I'm sorry, but that's where we're at on that. We don't have an X account yet. Maybe we'll have one in the future, and maybe a few others, but for right now, social media, this is how you can get a hold of us. And if you need to contact Tom, you can reach him at mufontom@epcoachtom.com. You can make sure you check out the Northland MUFON website, because that's where all the Minnesota information is until Minnesota gets our own website going. Minnesota and Northland kind of have a joint website at the moment. It's the Northland website, but Minnesota's all over it. And of course, don't forget to check out the global website at MUFON.com for any other information you might want. And speaking of the Northland MUFON website, this is the landing page that you look at. And if you scroll down, there is a ton of stuff on here. Well, what can you find on the Northland website? Well, that is a really good question. Well, you know what? You can learn all about Minnesota and Northland MUFON's beginnings. Thank you to Tori. I told you I was going to give you a shout out. This is your shout out. Tori wrote some outstanding articles on the history of Minnesota MUFON and Northland MUFON, Bob Schultz, Bill McNeff, and a few other people too. He's been a prolific writer and just great articles, and they're on there, so you can be able to see them. Right now, there's over 120 videos from Bob Schultz and growing, anticipated to have over 400 plus. Here's the trick with those. Those are all VHS, and I have to go through and digitize them. So how you do that is you throw it in a VCR, you got a little digital recorder thing, and then you let it play through. So with 300 more to go at an hour or two per video, it's going to take me a long time to get it digitized, but we're getting there and we're putting more on all the time. There's also past TV shows in which Bob was a part of. There's many years worth of the International UFO Congress that are on there. You can learn about upcoming meetings and speakers. There's Zoom links for the meetings. There's recaps of past meetings. You got years worth of historical Minnesota MUFON journals, fascinating UFO related articles and videos. You can watch past meetings from both Minnesota MUFON and Northland MUFON. And you can listen to past recordings of our own Tom Maher on KQDS, like I was talking about earlier. There's the MUFON's monthly sighting statistics and so much more, including, and this is the special event for this coming up next month, the Golden Even. I've already asked Tom about this, so here we go. The Golden Even. What we're looking at here is you can own a part of history. It's a 1-year anniversary of Northland MUFON. So from now until December 21st, for every $5 you donate to Northland MUFON, you'll get one entry into the Golden Even things. And there it is right there. So you can kind of get an idea of how big it is. But it's limited edition, almost one of a kind because there's 3 of them, but we're only giving away one. Golden Even. So here's your opportunity to earn or to own a piece of MUFON history. You can donate via Venmo at Northland MUFON or Zelle at northlandmufon@gmail, or you can send a check. The address is on the website, or you can just donate on the website. Like I said, from now until the 21st, for every $5 donated to Northland MUFON, you'll get one entry into the chance to win this. So don't miss out. Also, Northland MUFON, look, I'm always looking for content. Okay, and the more content we put on there, the better that website's going to be, and you guys are going to love it. So if you'd like to contribute, thank you, Tori, for contributing. But if anybody else would like to contribute an article or a story or post some pictures of an ET that you got close up and personal, did some selfies with them, or if you have any suggestions, get on the website. And if you got suggestions, then please let me know. It's only going to be as good as we can make it, and together we can make it an awesome website. So just contact Northland MUFON info at gmail.com or mnmufonjer@yahoo.com, and both those emails come directly to me. So I'll be able to do that. Minnesota MUFON's extraterrestrial joke of the month, if you guys are ready for this, is the Star Wars edition. And it is brought to you by MarsCon. MarsCon Gone Rogue. MarsCon 2025 is going to be from March 7th to the 9th, 2025, at the Hilton Minneapolis St. Paul Airport Mall of America, 3800 American Boulevard in Bloomington. What is MarsCon? Well, MarsCon is a fan-run science fiction convention for all ages held every March in the Twin Cities area. Yep, every March. I'm sorry, I was thinking something else. At MarsCon, you'll find a panel discussions, gaming, parties, guests of honor presentations, music of many kinds, an art show, film, anime room, science room, dealer's room, charity auction, and masquerade. Holy cow, there's a lot of stuff there. But wait, there's more. There's more. There's a con and a con comedy music track. It attracts performers and listeners from across the country. It's a veritable smorgasbord of sci-fi. Various ticket patches are available. Go to marscon.org/2025 for all the details. And if you can't find them, it's because they got rogue. All right, so today's ET joke of the month. How did the space teddy bear cross the street? Anyone? Nobody? Joe, actually, Joe, you're probably gonna have to tell me because I think you can see everybody and I can't. So, you got nothing? I see no hands up. Change this over to gallery mode. Nothing, nobody, huh? All right, well, how did the space teddy bear cross the street? He walked. Come on, I thought that one was pretty good. All right. If you'd like to sponsor the Minnesota MUFON Joke of the Month or submit a joke to the Minnesota MUFON Joke of the Month, submit your request to mufontom@epcoachtom.com, and we'll get it up there for you. Okay, so Minnesota MUFON. Yep, here we go. Sorry. Our mission, our goals, and the sighting statistics rankings we'll get to in a minute. MUFON's mission is the scientific study of UFOs, UAPs, for the benefit of humanity. And our goals, we have three goals, three of them. First, we investigate UFO sightings and collect the data in the MUFON database for use by researchers worldwide, hence Project Aquarius, for everybody to see and everybody to research this stuff. Our information's out there as far as all these cases, so we're not hiding anything. Second is promote research on UFOs to discover the true nature of the phenomenon with an eye towards scientific breakthroughs and improving life on our planet. And like I mentioned before we started here, next Wednesday, the 13th at 10:30 Central Time, the Oversight Committee in Congress, the oversight.house.gov, is going to live stream unidentified aerial phenomena exposing the truth. So they're going to have a hearing about that. Hopefully something will come of it, but that is at oversight.house.gov, Wednesday, November 13th at 10:30 Central Time. And of course, the last thing we do here is educate the public on the UFO phenomena and its potential impact on society. So, like I was saying before, with Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, schools, book clubs, we are here to talk about that, and that is why we are here today. Okay, so some of our rankings here. We are looking at, let's see, U.S. overall got 312. God dang it, sorry about that. And of course, you just scroll down, and a lot of these reasons down here why we're not getting a whole lot from these other places are probably the language barrier, which makes total sense. But overall, not bad. Minnesota, we had 14. You say 14, RCMS only says 9. But anyhow, we had 14, I think, since this one came out. So that probably included all of October. So there was quite a few of them that came out. Shapes, we're looking at 77 circles, 66 spheres, 48 other, 36 unknown, and just right on down the list. And distances, the distance is one I always find interesting. Less than 100 feet, 55 reports for that. That is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, a little bit about Minnesota MUFON. Okay, a little bit behind the scenes here. We meet every second Saturday of every month at 1 o'clock. We'll open up the Zoom, or hopefully we'll be in person at some point. Well, 1 o'clock we'll start social time, and at 2 o'clock we'll start the meeting. And that might vary from month to month. You just need to get on the website to check it out, northlandmufon.com, and all the information will be on there. And hopefully soon we'll have minnesotamufon.com, and we'll be able to have our own website. But until then, northlandmufon.com. Let's see, where, when, and who for the meetings. Like I said, online for right now. New Brighton Community Center, hopefully when we start opening up. Or we may end up moving someplace else. It's hard to say. You just have to check out the website to find out. And of course, we'll let you know too. Not going to leave you hanging. On the announcements, you would know. We're transitioning to online meetings, only going forward for the foreseeable future, so watch for emails and changes to the online meetings. Our start times may vary based upon meeting content, so watch the email blast announcements, Facebook announcements, and Meetup. You can check those times to figure out where and when we're doing these things. So we don't do this alone. We are a group. We really rely on each other to make things happen. Tom Maher, our state director, who is out of the country right now, makes most of the stuff happen. You have myself as the assistant director. I'm also on the ART team, and I do the email blast. So if you're not getting them, let me know, because I am fallible and I do forget. Linda Folkerts Maleka is our chief investigator. Bill McNeff, secretary in the ART team, and I can't see everybody online. So if you guys are here, just give a wave. Our membership director, Ivor Matz, I know you're here, Ivor. So give a wave. And we are looking for a program coordinator. Program coordinator is really someone that's just getting guests for us, or at least coordinating the guest thing. You don't have to find them all. We do that as a group, but you're the one that would do all the coordinating just to make sure that they're here on time and everything else. Today's meeting, like I said, we're going to have, we're doing What's Up in Minnesota. We're going to do that here in just a minute. We've got Bill DiPaola, and he's going to do is a UAP detector for everyone. It's going to be really interesting. I talked to him for a little bit yesterday. It was a lot of fun. In December, we got What's Up in Minnesota, and we'll have Debbie Ziegelmeyer from the MUFON dive team, and she's going to talk about underwater UFO investigations. January, we'll have What's Up Minnesota in the Year in Review, and we're also going to have Scott Walter from the History Channel from America on Earth. That one's going to be exciting. That one will be real fun. We have upcoming other meetings, the 2024 MUFON Symposium recap. We have Chad Lewis, UFO Minnesota, Watch the Sky. And Samuel Chong presents, I can't pronounce that. DiPaola Prophecy, ThiaOouba Prophecy. I think Tom set me up on that one. We sent me these notes. All right. Well, anyhow, the Minnesota MUFON YouTube channel has got over 1,700 subscribers. Thank you very much. We got 62 videos. I usually put 2 of them on there every month. What I'll do is we'll have the meeting here. We'll record the whole meeting. I'll edit it down. I'll put it on the website. So if you want to watch the full meeting, you watch the full meeting on the website. And then on YouTube, I will release just the presenters portion, and I will release What's Up in Minnesota. So there's two different ones that will come out every month. Okay, so I can't, like I said, I can't really see here. Let me see if I can get a full one here. Nope, I can't. So, actually, if I stop sharing, there we go. Looks like a lot of people got their cameras off, but that's okay. How many people here are attending for the first time? Nobody? Hey, everybody's been here before? That's great. That's awesome. We'd love to see you guys. Are there any new MUFON members here? Anybody that just signed up for MUFON? You guys are a tough crowd, I got to tell you. Okay. Has anybody renewed their membership lately?
I did. I just renewed mine.
Okay, there we go. Jamie, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you. And Jamie, congratulations, by the way. Jamie is one of our newest field investigators.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah, we're looking forward to good things from you. So, all right. We're going to go back to sharing the screen here and see where we're at. Make sure that's what you guys are looking at there. Okay. And now, Minnesota MUFONs. Looks like we're looking for November 9th. What's up in Minnesota? And this is be going through October 11th through the 24th, through October 11th, 2024 through November 9th, 2024. And we are going to start with updates. So our first update, case 138002, it's a case of interest. My son and I, well, we'll just read the detailed description here. I seen something speed across the road, traveling from west to east. It caught the corner of my eye. Immediately told my son to look at the silver chrome ball that stopped and moved at 90 degrees to the right, which would be back to the west, and then proceed south at this time. So myself and Anna are on this one. I closed it because it's getting close to closing time for it. However, we're still waiting on video analysis from MUFON. However, here's some of the images, and if you can see, it looks like there might be some little stuff coming from down from underneath it, maybe, which is typical of some of these. Here's kind of a closer view of it. I know the witness in this. He's a very credible person. I think he knows what he's talking about. The video was very compelling. And this particular object, that style of object, I've done cases on it before, and I think he really caught something there. I don't think this is a balloon. But anyhow, we're still waiting on the video analysis to find out. So I did complete it as unknown UAV, but that's pending the video analysis, because as we know, no cases are ever closed. Okay, so case 138231 happened on 8/30/24 at 5 o'clock in the afternoon down in Savage. It looks like a flying squid. No idea what it is. About the size of a passenger jet. Maybe a meteor breaking up. Don't know. Tom Maher has completed this one. And that's what it looked like right there. How many videos? I didn't put that. Pictures. Okay, so that's a picture there of it. And there's a closer one. I think there's one more. Yep, here we go right here. And this kind of explains exactly what it is. So, investigator summary: witnesses declined the interview. He has determined that the object is just a kite, which that's kind of what it looked like to me. His exact statement was, "I'm a big fan of MUFON's work on these things in the sky. I found out what it was. It was a weird looking kite. Case solved. If I catch anything else, I will submit it." Witness also claimed to find other links and supporting information online indicating that it was a kite. I asked to see the link so I could review it for myself. Witness never sent the links. I requested an interview anyways, just for the formality investigation. Witness has not responded. And that happens. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The witness has already decided what it was and doesn't want to talk anymore, and that's okay. So Tom says, I found a kite on Amazon that could certainly be the object. I've attached a screenshot of the Amazon kite, enclosing case IFO man-made object, Tom Maher. And this is a screenshot because I actually looked at the, this is off of Amazon, because this is what I looked at too. So this is a screenshot he was talking about. All right, case 137832 happened July 20th at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Up in Lincoln County, a few UFOs spotted near a wind tower. This is by Tom Maher, and it is completed, and these are pictures of it. You can kind of see a couple of smudges there just below the windmill and one kind of behind it. And yeah, here's kind of a close-up of it, crop of it. And that's where it happened. And let's see what he says. He says, I interviewed the witness back in October. Witness was friendly and optimistic. They had always been open to the subject of UFOs and ETs, but they had never seen anything. They had been a believer who had never seen anything. Okay, so weather conditions were very good. There are wispy clouds at best. The picture seems to show three similar or the same objects in three different locations on the view screen in different sizes, which I attribute to being different distances from each other. The objects seem to be flying in formation, and at the speed at which the witness reports from the live picture, they couldn't be birds or bugs. They also do not appear to be planes or helicopters. So checking with Flight Radar 24, there was nothing in the area at that exact time when the live pic was taken. They seem to be relatively similar in altitude as the windmills and the objects. Oh, in that the picture. These windmills are on the Buffalo Ridge Wind Farm windmills. They're about 257 feet tall. Okay, they are 257 feet tall. And since each of the objects seems to be a different size, I don't see how this could be some sort of reflection or refraction in the lenses. They seem to be three separate objects, despite how similar they are. Despite how similar they are. They are not lens flares based on Flight Radar 24 data, the weather, and the clarity of the pictures. I can only determine these are unidentified, anomalous phenomena, closing cases, unknown UAP. That's what Tom came up. All right, 137886, shape unknown in Plymouth, fixed object observed directly above me. So I stared up the clouds and noticed on edge of the moving high altitude clouds a bright white speck. I focused on it and tried to identify it. The clouds moved next to it, but it remained stationary. It reminded me of a very similar experience I had as a teenager not far from here. Because of that, I continued to watch for any movement. However, it did not move, and the clouds moved in underneath it. I did not see it again afterwards. Peter Collins is on this. He's completed it. He says, I believe the witness is credible and did see something which appeared to stay stationary. He was able to see the object until clouds moved under the object, which blocked his view. It may be possible that what the witness saw was a plane that appeared to be stationary, but actually moving because it's up so high. Sometimes it kind of looks that way. My distribution in this case is UAV. So he's calling this an unknown. 138703, September 30th, 2024, 8 o'clock in the evening in Plymouth. Detailed descriptions: I saw a giant pulsating white sphere move across the sky 4,000 to 6,000 feet up, but could also see color shifts with the naked eye. When you zoom in on sphere and enlarge, pulsating disco ball of colors, and when you screenshot of orbs, always different color. And pulsates away different shape. Oh, this is hard to read. I'm sorry. So you can't see sphere, but different shapes. Saw and caught on video also 2 nights ago with better look, and then multi-pulsating spheres with like tentacles all around it. It reminds me of the Tesla electricity ball with random colors and pulsations. Made no sounds, no wings, no FAA regulation, alternating flashing lights. Went over me and towards horizon, and should have been able to view because it's so bright, but it just blanked out. So Stephen was on this one, completed it. Here's some pictures of it. Yeah, okay, here is a video. Oh, sorry, keep going here. And you can kind of see some stars in the background here, which is a nice reference. It's kind of hard to tell if it's traveling in a straight line or not, because when you're zoomed in that close, it's really difficult. But he keeps on it pretty good. And let's see what this one over here looks like. I think this is just a close-up of it. Maybe a different camera angle. Again, you can see a couple of stars here for reference. And there's a couple more stars you can see for reference there. And I think this might be a power line or something. So you can kind of get an idea of what it's doing. It looks very bright. And it just continues to come on down. I don't think it blinks out here. I think it just, yeah, it just gets to the end. So, okay. So those are the two videos associated with that one. Oh, come on. There we go. Then you zoomed in. So here's one picture. Here's the next one. Of course, when you zoom in, things are going to get all kinds of just weird on you. It gets all pixelated. So zooming in is fine, but you don't really get a whole lot out of it. At least I don't think I do. So anyhow, let's see if Steve did this. He said it's an iPhone man-made. So let's read what it says here. It says, when viewing the video, one can see the faint color change of the object. And this is normal when photographing with cell phones due to several reasons, such as small sensor and aperture size and fast shutter speeds than a traditional camera. Also, atmospheric conditions can also interfere, especially near the horizon. At approximately 7:58 p.m., the ISS appeared in the western sky at 10 degrees above the horizon, and at 8:02 p.m., it disappeared in the south-southeast at 10 degrees above the horizon. It was by far the brightest object in the sky at the time. This matches somewhat with his statement that it went from west to east in a straight line just above the horizon at around 8 p.m. And the color changes could be attributed to light distortion due to atmospheric conditions. Therefore, I think this was actually the ISS in which he observed. So, iPhone, handmade object. Good job, Steve. Okay, this next one here, 138733.
Sorry, I don't understand.
Oh, sorry, that was my phone. Shouldn't get rid of that. Okay. We'll go with the detailed description here. As I turned down my driveway, I was engulfed in a white, super bright beam. I was so freaked out, I looked up to see what it could be. And just above my truck was a black circular object looking like metal maybe, but on its edge was a halo or a ring of lights, like if you wrapped a light strip around it. Then there was a really bright flash and it was gone entirely. I was scared, freaked out, no sound, no flight path. It just blinked out of existence. The only thing that had happened was my Bluetooth music stopped. The car worked fine, no heat or vibration. It seemed like it was 6 feet above me, maybe 16 feet wide, but I'm not sure. This one here is a really interesting one. I talked to her for a little while. We are actually, she said while she was in the car and the light was on her, she said she could barely see out the door. You can only see a few inches down towards the hood. So it was quite an intense light. We're going to try to get some field investigators out there to check out the car and see if there's any magnetism to it, radiation, anything. Check out the area where it happened and go for that, because this is going to be a really good on-site investigation. So hopefully we can make that happen. I did complete it as an unknown UAV. After interviewing the witness, it's clear to me that the witness saw something extraordinary, even given the confusion of whether or not they got home sooner or later, because I talked to them and they didn't know if they got home sooner than they're supposed to, later than they're supposed to, or expected to. They just could not remember. The attitude of the witness was that of someone that saw something very strange and that they just could not understand. There's a history of seeing orbs when the witness and their sibling were younger, but there has been nothing since then until this incident. It's interesting to note that only a couple of days after this initial sighting, the witness did see what they believe was the same object, only a little closer this time. Meaning, as they're driving home, they saw the object the first night. The second time they're driving home, they saw the object, but it was closer to them when they initially saw it. But at this point, the witness just drove home without incident and nothing happened. So it's my belief that the witness did see a structured craft above the car that evening. If the witness sees anything similar or has any other memories, they will contact me then in case this position is an unknown UAV. Okay, 138855 cylinder happened near St. Michael. Observed object for about 10 minutes or longer. It appeared to be slowly spinning. Towards the end of the sighting, the object straightened out and started moving faster in a straight line. Lost sight of it when it went behind a tree. Witness 2 was observing the object from a different location on the property and said the object vanished shortly after straightening out and gaining speed. I would have dismissed this as some sort of weather balloon, but feel it was something else since it started to speed up and travel in a straight line. Stephen Hero did that. He's got it completed. And here's some pictures. Some very interesting pictures. And it's a cylinder. It looks like it's self-illuminating. I think maybe self-illuminating, unless that's reflecting off the sun. But it is very strange. Kind of weather balloon-ish as far as it's translucent, and you can see through it, but the shape is not that of a weather balloon. That'd be more of a, if it was a weather balloon, you think it'd look more like a ice cream cone or something. So here's his summary. It says, when the photos are enlarged, one can see that part of the object is translucent, which reminded me of some type of balloon. A quick search of Google Photos shows that this may be some type of high-altitude research or weather balloon. But since the witness thought it changed direction and began to increase in speed, that may not be the case. So I'm classifying this as an unknown UAV. All right, good job, Steve. Interesting one. All right, interview or overview of new cases. So the new cases that came in this month, here we go. What we got? We got 9 cases were submitted in the date range that from the 15th to the 1st, and that's what I looked at. Well, actually, it was from 15th until today, but the last one was reported on the 1st. The date range of the sightings go from December 16th of last year through October 30th of this year. There are no cases of interest, but we had 2 circles, 2 ovals, 1 other, and 2 rectangulars or square shapes, and 2 cylinders. We had 3 close encounters of the first kind, which is a close encounter of the first kind is a close approach within 500 feet. We have maneuvers. I'm just going to go over this right now. We have maneuvers of the first kind, which is a discontinuous trajectory, so it just kind of moves erratically. And a maneuver of, no, that's flyby, I'm sorry. And a flyby, which is a continuous trajectory. The flyby 2 is a continuous trajectory with effects. So we'll see what those effects are once we get closer to, or once we get to that case. So the first one here, this is the flyby 1, happened in Cold Spring. Was looking at the stars and noticed a 4-star constellation patterned vaguely like a triangle or diamond. Moved slowly from west to east, appeared lower to the ground than airplanes or jets, and made no sound, had to be very large given relative observation of known aircraft. Peter Collins is on this one. There's no pictures or anything, but we will find out what he comes up with. Next one is square or rectangle that happened down in Prior Lake. I was driving and the sky was dark. Clouds looked interesting. Even though I couldn't see anything in the sky, I decided to take a photo, and that's what I found in the photo. On one photo that was taken in short succession showed what appears to be a top, at the bottom of the sky. Bill McNeff is on that one. It's in progress, and here are the photos. I'm not sure what they're looking at here. I see reflections in the window, but I don't really see anything outside. Unless they're seeing something else that I don't know. Is Bill on call today? No, maybe not. Okay, that's fine. But anyhow, interesting. Case number 139094 happened October 26th. It's around the ridge of the Frisbee, and of course, this was probably about the size of an olive pit if you were to hold it at arm's length and look at it up in the sky, which is perfect because that's exactly what we need to really kind of determine or decide what size these objects are. If you hold an object out at arm's length, and about what would you could be holding, a nickel, a dime, an olive pit, whatever, and then we can kind of do some trigonometry and figure out how big it is. So that's excellent that they put that in there. Okay, so at first as a line, and then it tilted as it moved west to east. It made no sound. The object slowly faded out in the night sky. It was a clear sky, dark with stars shining. Temperature was a cold 51 degrees. I could see the stars. There wasn't a plane in the sky until after the object faded out. The plane was moving north to south. If I put my arm all the way out, counted, it was about 5/5 up in the air at the angle that it was flying. I don't know what 5/5 mean. That's okay. Tom's on that one. It's a sign. There's no media to this one, so we'll find out what Tom finds out later. Case number 139096 happened October 26th at 8 o'clock up in Buffalo. I saw this glowing line, one solid line, making its way up from Buffalo Lake right near my apartment while on a walk. I took some shoddy video of it being obstructed by trees, but when it got to the clearing where I was going to film it, it either vanished physically or turned its lights off and blended into the night sky. It was weird. Starlink is a bunch of tiny dots. This was a glowing, well, line. Well, Stephen Hero was on this one. It's in progress, and there's videos to this, so let's take a look. There's the first one. Yep, you see it right there. They zoom in. Looks like it's moving across the sky. I'll walk out there and then take a closer look at it. That was it. Let's take a look at this one over here. Kind of zoomed in now. Now you can see it a little bit better. They're both short videos. So kind of fuzzy, but you kind of get the gist of what's going on there. So move this thing out of the way again. There we go. And we'll find out what Steve comes up with on that one. So October 26th, case 139101, October 26th at about 10 o'clock at night in Sartell. Short description is light started out still with no sound. Orb started, saw a jet fly towards it and then turn away. After a few minutes, began moving. Detailed description says, please review. There were no sounds. Starlink was not in the area and last launch was 10:23. Hoping someone can identify this flying object with orbs. Jamie Flood. This is her first one. It's in progress, and let's take a look at the video. See what's on here.
Oh my God.
They're kind of zooming in. Hard to tell. It doesn't look like Starlink. It looks like a solid picture or a solid light, solid object. You can see the green thing. That's just lens flare. So he's going to have to talk to the witness about this one, interview them, and see what else they know. But it's nice to see that they're kind of out of ways, so that you have a good reference of what we're looking at. All right. Next case, 139116 on October 26th at 8 o'clock at night again in Elk River. We saw a slow but steady moving rectangular object with bright glowing lights. It stayed that way for a few minutes before the pulsating glow slowly dimmed out and it could no longer be seen. For a short period of time, the lights were dim and you could still make out the rectangular object. It gave me a weird, eerie feeling sensation while I observed it. It was exciting, but definitely made me feel a certain type of way when I was watching it. It's hard to explain. Stephen Hero's on this one. It's in progress, and we have videos on this one too. Let's take a look at this video. Yeah, there it goes across the sky. You can kind of see some stars in the background for reference to, which is kind of nice. So, but we will find out what that is. All right, next case, 139146 happened September 9th, 24 at 9 p.m. in Matoa. Let's see, I was sitting on the deck on a total of 7 blue orbs, at least as high as the I don't even know what I'm trying to say there. Pretty high. Appeared to fly fast with no noise across the sky. One set of blue orbs, some seemed bright. Others were very close, like tailing it, all flying or shooting across the sky within several minutes, and then all just disappeared. It could have been one, but I did not feel it. Unable to get footage because it happened so fast. So when I do these detailed subscriptions, they are cut and paste right off of CMS. So I obviously didn't clean this one up, and I don't normally clean them up. So that way you can actually see what we're looking at. Bill McNuff is on this. It's a sign there's no media, so after he talks to the witness and figures out what it is, he'll let us know. Next one here, 139155 happened October 30th at 7:20 p.m. A rectangle or a square. This happened up in Moose Lake. The detailed description says, notice a rectangular object in the northern sky that had 2 rows of 6 to 8 dim lights. Also the edge, the same color glow, almost matched the same colors of the stars, moving west to east. It seemed to slowly vanish into the dark sky. Maybe rotated on its edge so underlights were not visible. Don't know. There were no sounds. Seemed to be 1 to 2,000 feet high at the most. Definitely out of place in the sky. Peter Collins is on this one. There's no media on this, so obviously he's going to have to talk to the witness and let us know. 139167, October 15th at 8 p.m. A lot of things happen around 8 p.m. This is up in War Road. Caught a strange object on a night lapse making a descending circle and speeding off. So, let's see, recorded a night lapse with my new fancy camera. Sounds like actually a really nice camera. Trying to get a video of the Tsuchinshan comet and captured an unknown object come into view and then made a descending circle before continuing on its path. Total real time was about 15 minutes. Analyzing the still photos from the time lapse, the object looks real strange and has different colored lights. Then seen a bunch of TikTok videos of the exact same object filmed in real time. I'm the investigator on this. I invited Jamie to help me out with this one. It's completed, so let's find out what Jamie found out, because I made her do all the work. Okay, so Lee's going to show you the comet. It's going to run through this video a couple of times in real time. Then towards the end, it'll show a slower version of it. So it's right above the trees, right in here. So just watch for that. It happens pretty quick. So there's the comet. That's pretty awesome. And then that comes in there and takes off. We'll show it again. I think he brightens it on this one. No, darkened it. There's the comet again. And then there's the object, comes through, does a little 360 and keeps going. And there's another one. And then this last one here comes in slow. Now you can see it right above the trees. It comes down, does a 360, and then continues to the north. Okay. And let's see what Jamie came up with this one. So we're looking at the video the witness sent, and after looking on Flight Radar 24 and ADS-B, what was Jamie? What was that one called? ADS-B something?
ADS-B. It's the unfiltered version of Flight Radar, basically. ADS-B Exchange.
ADS-B Exchange. Okay, so there you go. That was another great site. I didn't know about that site until Jamie told me about it, so thank you very much. I'm going to start using that one. Okay, so after looking at Flight Radar 24 and the ADS-B site, it's obvious to me that the witness caught aircraft November 484 November Delta, which is a Piper Archer from the North Dakota University flight program, flying into War Road Airport that evening. The flight plan clearly shows the aircraft doing a 360-degree turn approximately 6 miles south of the airport. This is exactly what the witness caught on camera. The 360-degree turn is a training maneuver that flight instructors will make flight students do from time to time. It's an exercise in aircraft handling and finesse, and it teaches the student to maintain altitude and airspeed while in a turn, which makes perfect sense. So, case closed as an IFO, man-made object aircraft. So, very good, Jamie. Thank you very much for the help on that one.
Thank you for inviting me to join you.
Absolutely. Okay, I think we're coming up on our last one here. It's case 139191. It happened December 26th of last year at about 7 p.m. down in Mankato. And it says, I was looking at my bedroom window on a clear night at about 7 p.m. There are 3 trees around 75 to 100 feet tall across the street. I noticed there was a small object hovering over the middle tree. It had lights like Christmas lights pulsating around it. I would say the object was about 2 foot in diameter. I watched it hover for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then it started to slowly move in my direction. It never wobbled or changed type, but moved slowly across the street where it went over my apartment. I opened the bedroom window to hear if it made any noise, but it was completely silent. It definitely was not an airplane or a helicopter. I don't think it was any type of drone either, because I've never seen one that was round, had colored lights around it, or didn't make some kind of sound or noise. I would have gone outside, but living in Minnesota in the winter, it would have been hard to put on shoes, jacket, etc. Yes, and it gets cold out there too. And I figured by the time I got outside, it would have disappeared. I've always been interested in UFOs and science fiction. I've loved listening to Art Bell, Coast to Coast, as do I. I have no idea why such an object would be over a small town in southern Minnesota. If you have any ideas, think about it all the time. Look out my window. And this is in progress. And as soon as I find out, I'll let everybody know. And that's what's up in Minnesota. All right, so it's break time now. So welcome back. We have William DiPaola today with his UAP detector presentation. Bill, with a 38-year career at Robert Bosch GmbH, William DiPaola specialized in the design, development, and manufacturing of advanced motion detectors for security systems. Bosch, a global leader with over 130 years in the business, employs more than 300,000 people worldwide and generates approximately 100 billion euros in revenue. Throughout his tenure, William earned a place as one of Bosch's top 18 inventors in company history. He contributed to over 40 patented technologies, with 3 patents currently pending for the UAP detector. During his career, William developed motion detectors incorporating various advanced sensor types, including thermal infrared, the 10 gigahertz Doppler radar, the magnetic Hall effect, the 3-axis accelerometers, 900 nanometers active infrared, and ultra-wideband radar. Following his retirement from Bosch in 2021, William immediately dedicated himself to the development of the UAP detector. And before we get started, Bill, what is an active infrared? I know what passive infrared is, but what's active infrared?
Yeah, so active infrared uses infrared light source like your remote control for your TV.
Oh,
So
okay.
it illuminates an area, and then there's an infrared sensor that would some reflection from that light source.
Gotcha. Okay, and with that, thank you, Bill. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you, Jared. Yeah, so I spent the first 38 years of my career working on sensors to detect humans. Then I retired, and now I'm working on sensors to detect non-humans. So this is actually more fun for me. So I'm enjoying this right now. So I thought I'd first go over a quick agenda, what I'm going to talk about today. There'll be a quick overview of the ET302W UAP detector. I made a short marketing video. It's the first time I made a video, so the quality may be not so good, but it explains what the detector does. Then I'll talk about my first UAP encounter that kind of triggered this device development. Talk about the motivation for creating the device. Then I'll have some videos to share with you that demonstrate the device in action. I didn't think I could pull off a live demonstration, so I made these short videos just for this presentation. Then I'll go over the specifications. Then if there's time and interest, I can talk a little bit about a trip I went with my brother, visited the Skinwalker Ranch area in May, and we have some videos that my brother and I made to kind of discuss what we saw when we were there. It was interesting. And then I talk a little bit about maybe what are my next steps for this UAP development project. And I'll have to open it up for questions. We can ask questions along the way too, no problem. Particularly in between some of the videos, I'll stop and pause, see if there are any questions from the group. Okay. So this UAP detector is designed to monitor your nearby environment, typically your house. So you place this device near a window. It works 24/7. If it sees a change in the environment based on the 3 sensors that it has, the LED will flash and the sounder will beep a few times to grab your attention. The idea is then that you would grab your camera or other equipment, head outside and look to see what might be going on. Hopefully it's a UAP flying above your house. The device also works with a phone. So there's a phone app that you can access the sensor data, event time and stamp and information's all within the app. We'll give you a demonstration of that later. Internal to the detector, there's 3 sensing technologies. There's a 3-axis magnetic field sensor, a 3-axis gravitational field sensor, and a 1.6 gigahertz RF or EM field sensor. It'll operate about 4 years on 3 AAA batteries. I'm sorry, 4 months. Wish it was 4 years. Tried real hard to get the life out a little more than 4 months. But the Wi-Fi module itself consumes a fair amount of current. So if you don't use the phone app and the Wi-Fi, the battery life goes out to about 2 years. So 4 months with Wi-Fi, 2 years with no Wi-Fi. It's real small, portable. You put it in your backpack, take it out with your field test or whatever. So it's a handy little toy. Here's the video, this marketing video I made. It's not very long, but it'll give you an idea what the detector's all about.
Step into the unknown and embrace the adventure of unraveling the mysteries of the universe with our groundbreaking UFO UAP detector. Designed for those with a keen interest in exploring the enigmatic UFO UAP phenomena, this device integrates the most advanced MEMS-based sensors, placing a potent pocket-sized research tool in the hands of everyday explorers. UAP vehicles are theorized to utilize gravitational propulsion systems. Thanks to our state-of-the-art detector, you won't miss the next sighting. Equipped with a highly precise 3-axis gravitational field sensor, our device identifies minuscule changes, as small as 5 milli-G, in any direction, giving you the chance to monitor unusual gravitational activities that may signal UAP presence. Furthermore, many airline pilots have reported their magnetic compass spinning during UAP encounters. You too can follow the compass. Our detector features a 3-axis magnetic field sensor, sensitive enough to detect a change of 5 milligauss, roughly equal to a 5-degree position change of a magnetic compass. Confirmed by the U.S. government itself, electromagnetic radiation often escalates during a UAP event. Stay on top of these occurrences with our detector's high-sensitivity 1.6 GHz EM field sensor, designed specifically to monitor the frequency most commonly associated with UAP events. Once a UAP event is detected, our device alerts you with a multicolored LED and beeping sound, urging you to take swift action for additional observations and measurements. If you're away from the device, don't worry. You can receive instant notifications on your mobile phone via our free app. While the government has been studying this phenomenon for decades, a wall of silence has been erected in the name of national security. We believe in the power of public research. It is time to put the truth back in the hands of the people. You are part of that journey. Only through your curiosity, study, and sharing can we collectively unveil the true nature of UAPs. Be the trailblazer of discovery. Unlock the secrets that the universe holds. Disclosure lies within your grasp. Don't just believe, observe, explore, discover.
Okay, so as I said, it was not the highest quality video, but gives you an idea of what the detector's all about. So now I'll talk about my close encounter. In 2009, my wife and I were driving home from my niece's birthday party out near Buffalo. And on the way home, we came around the corner and we see this diamond-shaped object about 40 feet above the ground. We both looked at each other and were kind of puzzled. And my wife says, "Well, that's not a kite." And then I said, "Well, it's not a plane." And then she said, "It's this or that." We went back and forth as we were driving under this thing, but we couldn't identify what it was. It was perfectly silent. It didn't move at all, perfectly stationary. What stood out the most to me was how still it was. Even there weren't drones back in those days, but even now when you watch a drone, it's relatively stable, but it moves around a little. This was perfectly still, really odd looking. As we drove under it, I slowed down to about 5 miles an hour. It was close enough I could have thrown a rock at the thing, but I didn't stop because there was traffic in back of us. So I went around the corner. It was maybe only about 100 yards, and I pulled into a driveway, and I said to my wife, "We have to go check this thing out. I don't know what that was." So we drive back. Couldn't have been maybe a minute after the initial sighting, and got out of the car, looked around. It was gone. There was nothing there. We stood out there kind of baffled for a minute or so just talking about what we just saw, but didn't see it again. It was gone. It was very strange. I've never seen anything like it till then, and still haven't really seen anything that bizarre in my life. So that's the story. It was in the middle of the day. No sound, no propellers, nothing, no lights on it. It was just very strange. So ever since that day, I can't stop thinking about this. Wish I had a camera. Wish I had actually pulled over initially and watched it, but I didn't. We kind of drove underneath it. So it's quite an experience for both my wife and I. Anyone have any questions about the sighting before I move on?
Yeah. So, the sides, you said it was faceted. You said all the sides, were they perfectly flat? Was there any rounded edges on that thing at all?
No rounded edges. It was faceted in sections. I tried to recreate it in the photo there.
Yeah.
There was actually more facets than you're seeing there. It was maybe I could see 4 on top and 4 on the bottom, but overall it was diamond shaped. Real smooth, no lights, no windows. People say, and I didn't see any rivets or any details other than this shape. It was just a really clean looking shape.
And was it off to the side of the road? Were you ever absolutely underneath it, or?
I drove directly underneath it.
Huh.
And so, I'm looking at, through the windshield as we're driving under it with, my mouth open going, I don't believe what I'm seeing, because it was just so strange.
Huh. All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yep.
Okay.
Ivor's got a question. Can you unmute yourself, Ivor?
So, as you drove under, well, 2 questions actually. The first question is, from the perspective of, I see the windshield wiper in the bottom of the frame. From that perspective, if I were sitting in that car, would that be about the size of the item, of the thing relatively in your recreation?
Yes. I tried to get the size about right. So
Okay.
it's about 8 foot wide and 4 foot tall. I thought, afterwards, it looked too small for someone to be in, person to be in it. I think physically they could couch up and be in it, but it would be so uncomfortable. It wouldn't be something that you would want to be in. So it was pretty small. It wasn't really big.
And as you drove under it and you looked up, were the facets of the craft or the item, were the facets similar from below as from what you could see from the side? Or was it differently faceted underneath?
It looks symmetrically faceted on top and on the bottom.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if I were to turn that item, 90 degrees up, it would look the same from the bottom as it. I'm confusing myself. The faceting would look the same from the bottom as it looks from the side, or were there more facets, or was it? Was there a difference in the symmetry and the size of the facets below, given the geometry we see from the side?
I'd say no, it was very symmetrical.
Very symmetrical. Interesting. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Anybody else?
Jared, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Tor.
Is there any possibility that it was interacting with those power lines at all?
Yeah, it could have been. I didn't see any arcing or hear any crackling noises. It could have been. There's some, it's not shown in this photo, but to the right of this image, there's some high tension power lines, I'll say a couple 100 yards away. Those big, with the big towers. It's very close to that area.
From this photo, it looks like it's sitting right above those power lines.
Yes.
Was that the actual case?
I think it was a little further than what you're seeing. Wasn't directly above the wires. Meaning I passed under the wires and then I passed underneath the object. But it was, close, maybe, 20 feet, 30 feet or something. And it wasn't as high as the trees. So it wasn't higher than the trees. Yeah.
The object was below the trees?
Yes.
Wow. And is this picture here the exact spot that you saw it?
It is. So I went back there a few weeks ago just for this presentation and took some photos. I took a video too. Unfortunately, I didn't download it. I was going to show me driving around that corner and you could see where I turned around in the driveway, but it's, it's right around this corner, about 100 yards where I turned around and drove back, parked right over here and got out of the car and looked around and didn't see anything. It was gone. It went from perfectly still to gone in less than a minute.
Wow. Okay. Anybody else?
I have two questions. This is Jamie. I was wondering if it created any sort of shadow that you noticed, or how the sky looked around the edges of the object as you looked up.
Yeah, I didn't see a shadow on the ground, but underneath it looked like it was darker than on top. It was casting a shadow on itself. And the day was overcast. I didn't recreate the weather, but it was an overcast day. But there's still enough light there. I could see that underneath it was darker.
Okay, thank you.
Did it distort the air around it at all? Could you tell?
I didn't see anything, like fuzzy. I got a real good look at it. It looked real crisp and sharp.
Okay.
But I didn't see any aura or anything around it. No light. It was charcoal black, It was, Yeah.
Anybody else?
And this is Joe.
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
I wanted to make sure that what we're seeing is your simulation here of the image from the side. Is it the same type of image underneath?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Barring that, go ahead, Bill.
Okay. So yeah, my motivation to make this detector was to have a device to improve the chances I could see another one. And I poured my experience into this design, made prototypes and got a system that looked like it was working and shared with a couple friends. And of course they wanted one. And so then I couldn't resist the temptation of doing what I've done for 38 years and make a product out of it. So that's exactly what I did. I made a device that could be sold. What makes this device, different than what a lot of scientists are doing today is, sure you're all well aware of, they're making these very complex, accurate, expensive, complex systems to detect UAPs, which is needed. I think it's a great idea that people are actually making these systems. However, the cost and complexity ultimately limits the number of these systems they can launch into the field, hence reducing the possibility of detections. So this detector was designed to be low cost and very easy to use, with the potential of getting many more out into the field, into the public's hands, who then could make their own observations, collect better photographs, hopefully, with the sensor data that then could be shared and potentially pressure our lawmakers to disclose what they really know. I think that ultimately the pressure needs to come from the people. As I think you're all aware, they're not really wanting to share what they know. So there are approximately 100 detectors out in the field currently. About 20 of them I've given away to, I'll say, experts or professionals in the field. And I still welcome other professionals, if they're full-time investigators, to contact me and wanted to share devices at no cost. Right now, some of those detectors are in the field, and they are working. They're detecting at the same time. These expert equipments are also detecting events. So it's real encouraging to see that the system works, and hopefully we get more of them out in the field. Okay. I mentioned I have a few videos I'll share with you. I made them just for this presentation, so they're a little rough, but it'll give you an idea how the system operates. And I'll stop after each video and answer questions if anybody has.
We will demonstrate the operation of the UAP detector. On initial power-up or a reset, the detector will go through an initialization sequence. It performs an internal system test, testing each sensor and subsystem. The LED color indicates a passing test. Gravitational, magnetic, EM, battery voltage, Wi-Fi module. The detector will now establish sensor baseline values of the test location. Finally, it displays the sensor sensitivity level setting. The detector is now operational. A magnet is placed next to the detector to activate the magnetic sensor. Magnetic field detection is indicated by a green LED and sounder. The phone app indicates the event. The sensor current event signal data can be viewed on the chart screen. The historical event data is also logged on the chart at the bottom and can be viewed by day or month. The event history is logged in the app history screen. The detector will reset itself after 20 hours or can be manually reset by turning the device upside down until 2 beeps are heard. Place the detector back in the test location. The detector will cycle back through its initialization sequence and be ready to detect a new event. The detector's new baseline values will include the effects of the magnet in proximity of the detector. This concludes our UAP detector overview.
Okay, so any questions on that video?
Yeah, I got a real quick question for you. When it detects something and it goes off, how long does it go off? I mean, is like 30 seconds worth of beeps or 10 or until it's, set, or how's that work?
Yeah, so it's a good question. So to avoid the case where there might be something bothering it a lot and then the detector bothering you, I designed it so when one of the technologies is triggered, the sounder will beep 3 times, beep, 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 and the LED will flash. The sounder will not beep again after that, but the LED will continue to flash for 20 hours.
Okay.
If one of the other technologies activates, you will get the sounder to beep again 3 times, and then the LED will flash green and then red and green and red if they were those 2 technologies. Again, and it'll reset that 20 hours at that point. But then after 20 hours, it resets.
Thank you.
Sure.
Bill, how about weather? How does weather affect it?
So weather doesn't affect the sensor's performance at all, and neither does its location. Doesn't need to be outdoors. It's really designed as an indoor product. So if it's in a house with normal wood or block or stone construction, those sensors are not affected by that. If you were in a metal building, then of course the magnetic field sensor and the 1.6 gigahertz RF sensors would be affected. In that case, you'd want to get it near a window, and then those signals could be picked up through the window. The device is sealed with an IP54 type of rating. So it can be placed outside for short-term testing. It can get rain on it. It is sealed on the top. That LED is sealed internally, but it can't be submerged in water. So if it's sitting on a flat surface or a convex surface, if water was to collect and build up underneath it, the batteries would get wet, for example, and it would flood inside. But if it's on a flat surface where the rain can drain away from the detector, it's okay to be outside. I've got some units outside that have been running almost a year now, and the battery terminals are a little corroded, but they're still functional. But best to be inside so you can hear the sounder go off anyways. Okay.
What will it detect? I mean, as far as will it detect birds or planes, bugs, anything like that?
No, it will not. So, a bug doesn't produce magnetic fields or gravitational fields or this 1.6 gigahertz RF field. A plane also doesn't produce significant amount of magnetic fields or RF fields. And I actually have the last video I have for you, about the last, but I have a video actually that demonstrates this detector sitting on top of a car and a plane flying, a few hundred feet above the car, and the detector won't go off. We'll show you that in a little while. Okay, this next video is going to show you some of the sensor signals that are internal to the device.
This is a demonstration of the UAP detector's internal sensor signals. The UAP detector is connected through a serial port to the laptop. The top graph is showing the 3-axis gravitational field sensor. The middle is the 3-axis magnetic field sensor. The bottom the 1.6 GHz EM sensor. A small magnet is rotated in proximity to the detector. The signals can be seen in the middle graph. A 1.6 GHz signal is transmitted and detected by the EM sensor. The signal is displayed on the lower graph. The detector is lifted and tilted to simulate a gravitational field change. The signals can be observed on the top graph. Note, a serial connection is not normally provided with the UAP detector.
Okay, so a note to make is, I think you may have noticed that when I was moving the detector around, the magnetic field sensor was also being activated or measuring signals. So it's actually showing you the relative position change due to the Earth's magnetic field. So as I'm rotating it, detecting that change like a compass would. And so both sensors were actually being activated when I moved the detector. Any questions about that setup?
Very interesting, I'll tell you that.
Off to the side here's
I got a real quick question for you.
sure.
What is the significance of the 1.6 gigahertz? I mean, you hear that often. The Secret of Skinwalker Ranch talks about it all the time. You're talking about it now. What is going on? What is the deal with that frequency?
I don't know what the deal is. It might have something to do with the propulsion systems generate RF fields. There's a lot of theories of this gravitational propulsion systems, and there's even some patents out on it, assuming it's the same, where they're using high gigahertz type RF energy to stimulate the field that causes the gravitational event. So I wish we knew. Can maybe share. There's a photo that I can share with you. You may have seen this before. That the government actually released this where they're showing this.
You gotta talk to the microphone, boss.
Yep. So the government released this document where they're identifying this 1.3, 1 to 3 gigahertz RF signal that they detect in the presence of UAPs, and also an 8 to 12 gigahertz range. And I haven't been able to find anybody that has more detailed information on this 8 to 12 gigahertz range. So if anybody out there knows, I'm all ears, because the next generation detector that I'm working on, I'd like to include a specific frequency to measure and to monitor between 8 and 12 gigahertz. Right now I'm targeting 10 gigahertz, but it's just a guess. As I mentioned, the detectors in some other people's hands. Not sure I get in trouble mentioning this or not, with John Tedesco, if you're familiar with him and his brother Terry. They have this Night Stalker RV that they are testing for UAPs in the Long Island area. Well, they have a couple of my ET302W detectors that they are currently testing along with their more elaborate system. And just this week, John contacted me and let me know that both of my detectors went off at the same time their equipment went off at 1.6 gigahertz, and they have the more detailed spectrum analyzer signals that they shared with me. It was right at 1.6 gigahertz. The detector went off and they had observed UAPs in the area. He didn't share the video or the optical data, but he said they had observations twice this week at 1.6 gigahertz. So yeah, I don't know what's with the 1.6. You know, Skinwalker.
Yeah.
They see it all the time. And mention, I'll share some information. I was in the Skinwalker area in May, and I also detected 1.6 gigahertz at the same time we saw an orb fly right by us. So yeah, I don't know what it is, but they're emitting it.
Interesting.
Any other questions?
Did you still want to do your raffle?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. So just so everybody knows, Bill has volunteered to give away one of these today. If you are interested in receiving one, you can send a chat message directly to me, Minnesota MUFON, and just tell me your email address. And then Bill and I will hang out after the meeting and try to draw a name out of a hat to see who wins this. So if you're interested in receiving one of these, please send a direct chat to me, Minnesota MUFON, with your email address, and I'll make sure that you get notified if you win. Go ahead, Bill. Sorry to steal it.
Okay, no, thanks for bringing that up. Okay, so this next video is the conventional aircraft demo. So you can see here, I'll try to give you a little insight of what you're looking to see. So there's the UAP detector sitting on the hood of my car. I'm at my local airport. You can see right here is a plane about to come in for landing. I have a GoPro camera right in front of the detector here, and I have my cell phone. And I'm going to pan the cell phone towards the plane as it flies overhead. And you'll notice that the UAP detector doesn't activate on the airplane because the airplane doesn't emit 1.6 gigahertz. It's made out of aluminum, so it has a very small magnetic field associated with it. And of course, it's too small to generate a gravitational effect that my sensor could detect. In theory, there's a gravitational field that potentially could be measured underneath the plane, but I don't know what equipment could actually do that, but there probably is something out there. So I'll run the video for you. So yeah, the point is if the detector goes off and you head outside and see something in the sky, it's not an airplane. It's a UAP of some sort. This detector won't activate on a plane. What you heard in the background was someone's car alarm going off from the rumble from the jets. And I assume their battery will be dead when they come back because every plane that comes in, it was triggering their car alarm. Yeah. Any questions on this one?
So this is Jamie. I just heard you mention that aluminum has a small gravitational field. Have you ever heard of the possibility that some recovered crash sites contain pure aluminum? And I'm just curious if you have any knowledge on any comments on that.
Yeah, so I have heard of crash retrieval materials having pure aluminum and often layered with other materials in a way that we can't recreate. So you're probably aware of some of those reports. As far as it affecting gravity, so aluminum itself doesn't affect gravity in any other way than the mass of it. So aluminum being light actually affects gravity a little less. And gravity is proportional to the mass of the object. So a plane weighing a certain amount of weight is going to have an effect on gravity, just like the Earth does. The Earth has so much more mass, we feel it. But you wouldn't feel a plane because the mass is not high enough for you to feel. That makes sense.
It does, yes. Does aluminum have a unique electromagnetic field of any sort?
Not that I'm aware of it. Aluminum's a very good conductor, so it would shield electromagnetic radiation like RF fields a little more efficiently than some other materials, only because it's high conductivity. Copper and gold are other very good conductors. Aluminum's, as you know, is often used in wiring. The main line coming into most people's houses that heavy 20 amp service is often aluminum for cost. Copper is just too expensive. But in your house, probably copper wires.
Yeah. Just interesting to think about. That's all I had. It's just, it struck me as interesting. So that's it.
Okay.
Bill, how, I assume that the field of range is circular here around the detector, but how far out will it go? What is the range of it, of the detector?
Yes. So I get that question a lot, and it's not something I can define definitively because, for example, for the gravitational field, it would be proportional, the range would be proportional to how strong the field is generated by these craft. So I would assume a larger craft would have to generate a larger gravitational field to move it. And if it's accelerating quickly, I would expect it to generate, during that acceleration, higher amounts of gravitational fields. Same with the magnetic field. The larger the object, the more likely it's going to generate a larger magnetic field, even though that's theoretical. I think you're aware there's many pilots over the years have talked about their compasses spinning while they're observing these UAPs. Well, those pilots are often seeing crafts that are mile, 2 or 3 miles away, and their compass is still spinning. So I would expect this device to detect these UAPs a mile, 2, 3 miles away potentially. If the pilot is seeing their compass spin, their compass is spinning 360 degrees. This detector is sensitive enough to see only about a 5-degree change in a compass movement. So it's very sensitive. Matter of fact, if you have like a chair, like a folding chair, a metal chair, within about 5 feet of the detector, if you move that chair, it'll notice that magnetic field change because its effect on the magnetic field of the Earth, but also since it's metal, if it's steel in particular, it probably has its own small stray magnetic field charge on it, and it'll detect the chair moving. So it's important you put this detector in a very quiet location where people aren't moving objects or moving things nearby it.
Just to confirm again, it can be used and it's really designed for use indoors. So it actually, the sensors go through the roof and through the windows and it would detect in the sky then, huh?
Yes. Yeah, so the RF signals, the 1.6 gigahertz, is actually a little bit lower in frequency than Wi-Fi, right? Your Wi-Fi goes through walls. Your cell phones are typically around 900 megahertz, which is closer to that 1.6 gigahertz. And your cell phone signal goes through your walls, no problem, right? Maybe attenuated just a little bit. The magnetic field, right? You have a compass in your house. You can still tell north, south, east, west, right? Magnetic fields are not affected by building construction at all. If they were metal, if you were in a big metal enclosure, say like a warehouse with no windows, that would concern me. In that case, you would want to either put it near a window if there was one, or move it outside. Same with the RF signals, won't go through a metal wall. So if the building is solid metal with no openings, yeah, performance would be reduced greatly for those two technologies in particular. But most houses are made out of wood and concrete and block, no problem. These are the basic specifications of the device. It operates on 3 AAA batteries. As I mentioned, battery life about 4 months with Wi-Fi. Average current about 350 microamps. And the LEDs come on and the sounder or the RF transmitter from the Wi-Fi turns on. It might draw about 100 milliamps max. Magnetic field sensors, sensitive down to about 8 milligauss, 80 microteslas. That means anything to you. Gravitational field, 0.025 Gs. So the Earth produces 1 G, right, in the Z axis. If that 1 G changes even by 0.025 Gs, this detector will activate. And as I mentioned, there's a 3-axis sensor in there, so it'll detect a gravitational field change in all directions, even though the Earth's only acting in one plane. Same with that magnetic field sensor. There's primarily in one plane, but if any magnetic field change is detected, it will activate. So talk about the range of the RF detection at 1.6 gigahertz. So I've watched quite a few of the episodes of the Skinwalker Ranch, and I carefully, particularly in the older episodes, when I knew what system they had this SDR radio, which I purchased the same model so I could calibrate and understand how sensitive did my device need to be to detect those events that they're seeing in the Skinwalker area. And those signals were about 20 dB higher than my detector's capabilities. And 20 dB for you non-RF people is a factor of 100. So it's 100 times more sensitive than it needs to be to detect some of those events that the Skinwalker Ranch folks were seeing. So it's plenty sensitive enough is the point. Another comment on that 1.6 gigahertz is I also recommend to place the detector at least 10 feet away from any Wi-Fi device. So the Wi-Fi device is operated at 2.4 gigahertz, which is relatively close in frequency to the 1.6 gigahertz. So it can activate the device falsely if it's closer than about 10 feet from the detector. There is some filtering to reduce the effects of that Wi-Fi router or your phone or TV or anything that's running Wi-Fi. So if you keep it 10 feet away or more, you won't have a problem. If you're interested, I'll share some of the observations we had in Skinwalker Ranch. Regretfully, when we were there, we had observations, particularly one that we have a video recap of what we saw, but unfortunately, I didn't have any of my equipment, the high-end equipment, trained on this event when it happened. My brother and I were both sitting in chairs. It was cold out. This was at nighttime in the desert. And the only instructions I gave my brother was, if something happens, you have to spring into action, grab this camera, and record the event. My brother's a doctor. He's not a ufologist, but he was eager to see something, and he took the instructions fine. But when we had the event, we both sat there in awe of what we were seeing. And we went back and forth. I first saw it. I say, hey, Joe, my brother, Joe, do you see that over there? It was a light. And he goes, no. And then I pointed to the area where it was happening, and it came on again. He goes, no, now I see it. Yeah, you see that? What is that? And we went on and on while this event was happening, but we never got off our chairs. We were too taken in, and we were baffled as what we were seeing. So we didn't capture any high-tech event video or anything with it, unfortunately. But the UAP detector did go off. The 1.6 gigahertz sensor detected this event and triggered when this orb was about 300 feet from us. So I'll show you the video coming up of us recapping. I'll also share with you a video that shows all the prototype equipment that I brought with me on this trip. Some of the prototypes were sensors that I want to put into the next generation sensor. Some of the equipment was there just to help document and observe the events that we were hopefully going to see. And I'll play that video for you. Okay, it goes quick, so you have to read quickly. I could pause it, but I think you'll get the idea.
This is the future.
Sorry, let's read a little bit.
Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
So yeah, that was the equipment we brought with us. A point to make is there's this control box you see here that was actually able to modulate that 100-watt blue laser, the ultraviolet light source, and the infrared light source. I could encode a digital message into those light sources and project those into the environment, trying to stimulate some response and hopefully receive a response to the message, which I never got. But it was just a feature of that equipment that I made. Any questions on the equipment?
You're having it. This is Joe.
Hey, Joe.
You're having an infrared light source going out, and you're receiving infrared. Is that going to create problems?
Well, the infrared light source is a focused light source. So it has a mirror behind it and focusing mirror. So it's directing out away from us, just like
Yeah.
like the laser is heading out towards the mesa.
Your infrared source seeing it might see what if it hits something in the distance.
Yeah, it could. For example, that PTZ camera I have can see the same infrared wavelength. And if there was something reflecting off it, like a flying saucer, yeah, it would show up in the camera for sure.
Okay.
And it was pretty high powered. It was like 35 watts of light.
Yeah, you don't want to look at that.
Yeah. Sure.
I do have some other possible suggestions, but I think I'll take it offline with you if you're okay with
Sure.
that.
I'm totally okay. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people with a lot more experience and expertise than I have. So if anyone wants to share insights into testing or methods or technologies, I'd love to hear from you. My contact information's available on the website, uapsensor.com, in the bottom of the, shown in the bottom of the video. I'll write it down. But please, yeah, contact me. I'm always here to learn from people with a lot more experience than I have. Thanks.
The multi-level aluminum, magnesium, and bismuth metal layers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's similar technology to what I worked with when I was in the service in '72. And we used it as a device to create electricity from a neutron stream.
Yeah, sir. So, one question is there a plan where these devices might be networked together via Wi-Fi so that, if there were a triggering event, we'd be able to track maybe, UAP or, events that, happen in sequential time? Anything like that going on?
There's nothing actively going on, but it's been discussed many times. I haven't made a database to collect this information. However, if you were to have, say, 10 sensors all on Wi-Fi networks, and they can be on different networks, you can remotely monitor all those detectors with your phone app. And the phone app collects the time and date stamp information of when an event happens. So it's physically possible to collect the data. It's also possible, for example, if you were to have one of these detectors, to share your data with me or any other user of this device. But you have to give them the access. So that's available through the app. You say, share my data with some other user. And they can actually see the same thing that you see on the phone app, all the sensor data, the status of everything in the history. So it would be relatively easy to have users just share their app data with some central location, but I'm not currently doing that.
Okay. Second question. Some years ago, I came across a research paper. It was by an Italian scientist, and he was doing radio frequency sensing technology. And this paper that was written specifically talked about sensing entities in the radio frequency spectrum that came out of this sensing system testing that they were doing. Have you ever come across that paper? I had it at one time. Of course, before I was able to get to read it, my hard drive failed and I lost it, and now I can't find it again. So I was just curious if you'd ever come across that paper.
No, I haven't. And I've spent hours looking at different databases trying to find very specific information on these RF frequencies and have not found anything other than this 1.6 gigahertz.
Okay.
It's often, it just says RF or a range, or some might say microwave frequencies or something. So no, I haven't seen it, but you say
if I come across it, I'll send it to you.
Oh, it'd be awesome. Thanks.
You bet.
I can move on to this orb that we saw that describes in more detail. It was more of a, what you're going to see is more of a recreation and an explanation of what we saw. Unfortunately, as I said, we didn't capture anything other than my detector activating. Oh, here we go.
And what's the other sighting had? Yeah, the other sighting was even more exciting, really. It was the second night we were there, and we saw what I've heard other UFO observers call an orb. It was a bright white light that was about 30 or 40 feet above the ground at tree level, and actually came along a kind of a line of trees. And as it came towards us, it would stay on for a few seconds and then go off, and then sort of reappear a little bit closer to us, and then go off, and then we saw a third time that it appeared. But there were other folks at the site who reported seeing it at the same time we did, but saw made 5 observations, 5 sort of on-off situations as it approached. They saw it along the same course that we did.
Right. And another interesting thing is the UAP detector actually activated about the second time we saw the flash. So it was maybe 300 feet away from us, and the 1.6 gigahertz sensor inside was triggered, and it's good to see that detector activated in a real life situation. Due to this, yeah.
So yeah, it was incredible what we saw. It was a really small light, really bright white, very small. It came within 50, 60 feet of us. Was the last time we saw it, and it turned off or went out, and then we never saw it again. And we're standing around looking around. What the heck? Very strange.
You said it was a white light?
White, like a color temperature like 5,000 Kelvin. Very bright white.
Okay.
Almost like an arc. You do any welding, a stick welder or a welder type of a bright white. It was hard to even see how big it was because it had the glare of the light, but it was small, like a golf ball size thing. This was my estimate. It was pretty small.
Did it seem to give off that light? Could you see the light going across the ground or in the trees or anything?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing, because it came right near the trees. I don't remember the trees lighting up. It was, it didn't light up the area, but it was bright. So yeah, it's an odd thing. I didn't really think of that before. You mentioned it. Didn't light up the area.
Okay.
But don't notice it. Remember it lighting up.
Ira, did you have another question? No? Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Bill. Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We can do another video. I'll just play it for you.
Yeah, so we had along with us in our kit, if you will, of detectors and various transmitters. We had a green laser that was used to sight one of the cameras, and we had that in the evening into the night, continuously shining on the mesa that was about a kilometer away. And on one occasion, some of the other campers noticed a bright flash of light coming from the area of that where the laser was pointed.
So yeah, that's what I captured on the video camera that I didn't see until after the event. My brother and I actually didn't notice that when it happened. We were playing with the equipment, doing something. We heard a loud, loud noises from the other campers in the area. I thought they finally noticed that I had a laser aimed at the mesa. So I dismissed it. And then the next night they came over and said, "Did you see that flash, that thing around your laser yesterday?" I go, "No." And they described what they saw, and so I looked back at the video footage and saw this. So I didn't actually see it, but it was odd that this lights kind of looked like it was investigating the laser beam. If you saw it buzzing around, it didn't have its own beam or anything associated. It was just a light. Very strange.
Hmm.
Any questions on that one?
Was that one white as well?
Yeah, it was a light.
White.
It was, you know, again, I didn't see it. This is
Okay.
black and white footage because it's in night mode. The people that described it as a flash. So this happened, you know, and you saw it. It was played real time. It was only like there for a second or so. They didn't share the color of it with us. They just said it was, you know, this flashing thing going on over by the laser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Then this one, I know you've all heard this before. I was skeptical myself. One of the other people that I've worked with is Chuck Bukowski. He's the famous guy in the field. When I was talking to him, he also described these battery drain problems. He has one of my detectors, and we talked about being able to detect that. So that's on my list for next generation detectors to monitor battery voltage. And if I see a dip, to activate the sensor. In any case, while we were there, we had all kinds of battery issues. I assume there's some engineers out in the field, out in the audience here, and I'm pretty baffled from an engineering standpoint how batteries can just drain all by themselves. Where does that energy go? What's happening to the chemistry in the battery? I can't explain it, but we observed it. So I have a video here that my brother recaptures some of the things we saw, and some of it was incredible.
Yeah, we had battery problems when we were there. One of the most notable and definitely the most frustrating was the fact that one of the two batteries that supplies DC power to the camper went dead. Unfortunately for us, it also happened to be the battery that supplied power to the starter motor on the generator. So we were really dead in the water there for a while. We carried with us two portable battery car jumpers, and neither of those would work for us. They were both discharged. Coincidentally, I guess coincidentally in quotes, one of a nearby camper had problems with their car battery, and we noticed them trying to start their car with a portable power supply battery jumper. When we noticed that they were a little bit frustrated with trying to get their car started, we went down to help them, and then we asked them if we could borrow their battery supply, power supply, so we could eventually jump start our generator. In addition to the battery problems we lost at least two, if not three, power supplies plugs into the AC to charge up our cell phone batteries in our battery packs. A couple of those got really hot and would not function. Ultimately, they failed.
So yeah, there was a lot of battery problems. Can't explain it. Those battery packs I showed in the video, those are permanently damaged. I've yet to open them up to see troubleshoot inside, but they're dead. Same with some of those USB chargers. They permanently failed. Can't explain it. Any questions on that stuff? Okay. Doing good on time. Yeah, a few more minutes. So what's next? I've started working on another design. at the top here is the piece of board layout for the ET302W, the current design. And this new design I'm working on has additional sensors. Down on the left, there's an electric field sensor. Over here, there's a gyro sensor, 3-axis gyro. Down here, 10 gigahertz EMF sensor, a gamma ray sensor, and underneath the PC board, a infrasonic microphone, MEMS-based microphone to detect sub-infrasonic sounds. So that's my plan. I probably won't get that device into the general public, just due to the cost of developing it and commercialize it. It's probably too high. But if there's interest and there's some professionals out there, I'm sure I'll make more than one of them. And as I have question marks down here, if anyone has ideas for additional sensor technologies, love to hear them. More the better. Collecting the sensor data, in my mind, if I have an event, say the 1.6 gigahertz sensor goes off, but I don't have infrasonic in it, or I don't have gamma ray, that's also useful data. It's good to know what these UAPs are not generating, what energies or what fields are not being affected by these crafts, is useful information. Okay, that's all I have today. If there's any final questions.
I have a suggestion. You may want to consider a neutron sensor on that.
Neutron sensor. I jotted down this neutron stream earlier, so yeah, that's on my list. Thanks. I'll look into that. I'll put a star next to it. Thank you. Anyone else?
The other thing is, if you've got an electrostatic sensor on there, you may want to also approach people who are ghost hunters, since the electrostatic plays key into those types of events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I've noticed a lot of the ghost hunters will use EMF sensors too, which is detectors somewhat capable of doing. It's but narrow band, and there's also Bigfoot people, and some people say they're all connected. They're all related. Bigfoot's coming down from the heavens also. Who knows?
Yeah.
And maybe the UFO detector could be useful. If that goes off and people see UFOs and Bigfoots around the same time, maybe there's some correlation there. Who knows?
I have a friend who's a ghost hunter out of southern Minnesota, and they've noticed that UAPs will set off their equipment.
Yeah, it's interesting. And a lot of people investigating consciousness and how all this might be all connected. Sure.
Yeah, I was part of the Gateway experience, so I know about remote viewing and that type of stuff.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
Okay, does anybody else have any more questions? Does anybody else want to be in for the drawing for the UAP detector? If so, then please send me a chat message with your email address. I've got a few so far, and I think I kind of figured out how we're going to do this. But like I said, Bill and I will take care of that after the meeting, and we'll let whoever know. One. Anybody else? We got lots of time today. Okay, I had a question for you. Okay, if you don't have your UAP detector hooked up to the Wi-Fi, so in other words, it's not really going to your phone, does it still maintain its history? Is there any type of hard drive or what have you, storage on the detector itself?
No, there's no storage. It only would have that 20-hour window where, like, if you weren't home, you could come home and notice that the LED's flashing.
Okay.
So no local storage. I'm trying to fit that into that next generation detector. I'm getting a little tight on board space. You saw it's almost fully round.
Yep.
So, it might be a challenge to get in. Maybe I'll need a little dongle cord that plugs in. It will have that serial connection on there that I showed earlier in the video. So you could access the raw data from the sensors. So that same USB connector could be used to store data on a little SD card.
Okay. So you don't have it built in, but it is possible to have it, if I was to hook up a USB port, or you have the USB port to it, a landline or whatever, if I was to hook up a USB thumb drive to it, it would store that data on there, and not unless I ask for it.
Yeah, not on the current design. It doesn't support that. I can modify, like I have for some other folks, modify units to add the serial port connection in the raw, to access that raw data. It's not too difficult to do. But the SD card would also require some software changes to push the data onto the memory card, which currently doesn't exist.
Right on. Sorry, I got another one for the drawing, so
Cool.
writing that down.
Yep, and then I didn't really mention it, but of course the device is available on Amazon for anyone that would like to purchase one.
Yep.
And right now there's a 15% off deal that's available on Amazon to anybody.
Right on.
The list price is $295, and so they're selling for $250 right now.
All right, there we go. Excellent. I think it'd be well worth it for sure for the enthusiast and professional alike. So, I mean, this information we get off of this is could be quite valuable, especially for those people who think they may be experiencers or something. You know, you could set up something like this in your house, and if something was to happen in your house while you're asleep, you know,
Yeah.
you find out the next day. So it'd be a good time to have that thing actually hooked up to the Wi-Fi to see when things happen. So,
Yeah, and so it can, as I mentioned, this device, because it works with the phone app that's part of a home automation suite. So even on Amazon, you can buy Wi-Fi light switches, Wi-Fi dimmer switches, chime devices, you know, home automation type devices, and you can configure through the app that when the UAP detector activates, it can turn a light on or a camera or what have you, all in the same app. And those devices are relatively cheap, like $15 for a wall switch. So I actually have it turn lights on in my house when something goes off. And a chime, I have a chime that's remote too.
Okay. Anybody have any other questions? All right, well, barring that, thank you very much, Bill. I really appreciate it. Don't go anywhere because you and I are going to be doing this afterwards, so we get to stick
Okay.
around.
Sure.
Just want to say it's really cool, and we need this type of technology and to move us forward. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I think if we could match these things together, network them together, we can start triangulating objects, and you know, maybe correlate, like the MADAR is supposed to be set up for that.
Right.
You know, possibly correlating all this stuff. You know, so that's perfect.
Yep. And users could do that now if they're in contact with each other. You could share your information, as I mentioned.
Oh, that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. All right. Well, thank you, Bill.
Sure. Thank you.
With that, I guess we'll close out a little bit early today. Next month, take a look at my slides here. Next month, we've got Debbie Ziegelmeyer, Deep Water Alien Residence, the cover-up. That'll be on the 14th. So that ought to be exciting. And in the meantime, don't forget your golden even. Always put in for that. And we'll talk to y'all later.